Good morning. Yes, it's morning. It's 9 a.m. here on the Eastern Standard Time Zone. I'm Herb Bailey in South Carolina, and she is.
Hey, everybody. Good morning. Rise and grind. My name is Jenna Marie Stone. And I tell you, I love Cuba. And your hat reminds me of the Cubans that I was with was it last, yeah, two
What?
summers ago,
You
actually.
want to
Miami,
know something? You want to know something?
going to Cuba.
Going to Cuba next year.
There you go. No, I went to Cuba 2 years ago. I didn't go
Okay.
last year. And we may be there again in Havana next year. So
It's
I may
it's 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 the boat is going out of Charleston, so it's
ours
Charleston.
goes out of Miami
Yeah. So I
because it
got to
goes
start
through
got
Bahamas.
to
Yeah.
start doing the Havana
Let me
song and
tell you
everything.
something. That trip was phenomenal. We learned how to roll our own cigars. We
Wow.
learned how to make our own rum. I'm telling you,
Oh, I'm in that one. I'll do that one.
it was the trip of a lifetime. You are going to have a phenomenal. We went to the Bahamas. I don't know how yours does it, but
It's gonna go to the Florida there, the Florida city. Oh, it's escaping me now. Uh,
Panama,
no, in Florida. Uh, the
like
fame.
through Florida, through Panama, maybe. I don't know.
I don't
Either
know. Well,
way,
we're
you're gonna have
getting
a
to
phenomenal.
Cuba.
You're gonna have a phenomenal time.
That's right.
Either way, it's a great time. So happy Thursday. How's
Happy
everything going
Thursday.
there? In
Everything's great. It's 85 degrees and sunny here. It
fantabulous.
feels like summer has arrived in the low country of South Carolina. Is it cold in Connecticut? You're
I'm
not in
going to
Connecticut.
tell you
You're in New
right
York.
now, it's going to be 75, but let me tell you, sunny. It's very sunny outside right now. The highs today will be close to 80.
Wow, that's
That's
phenomenal.
what it's saying, but I don't believe it. I would
Yeah,
say more like 70. I don't know what my phone's saying right now. It's saying 60 right now, but it's going to go up to 70. But then when I scroll to the to evening, it's showing even higher. I don't believe it until I see it, guys.
that's right.
Yesterday was
That's right.
cold. Yesterday
Yeah.
was a cold 60-ish. So
Oh,
I
okay.
don't believe it until I see it. Yeah, 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 yeah.
So, so I want to talk about Ernie Stebbins,
Let's go.
and, and I'm talking about this because I want to make a point to all our millions upon millions of viewers out there.
Okay.
Okay. His name was Ernie Stebbins. It was back in my season of life when I was pastoring in Wallingford, Connecticut, and I was his pastor. And he was a skinny old man. I mean, my first impression was skinny old man, cute little smile, liked to hit on the ladies, no matter their age. And but he was just the nicest man. And over that first year of getting to know him, we built a little friendship. And then one day he said to me, he goes, "I'd like to invite you over to my house for a coffee." And I said, "Sure, I'd love to." Now, my impression of this is he's a skinny old man that, I didn't know anything about his life, but you just, you looked at him and said, "Yeah, that cute little guy." And got to his house. We had a cup of coffee, and I shared. I wanted to. So tell me about your life, Ernie. And all of a sudden, his eyes started to water. He goes, "I will, and you won't see it coming." I said, "Okay." And he proceeded to tell me that he was in World War II. He was on a Navy carrier in World War II, and he was a gunner. And he showed me these pictures too to show me that he actually was. And he said, and there was one day where a Japanese kamikaze pilot was going to smash into the carrier, and he shot him down. He said I could actually see the face of the Japanese pilot. He said, and I
Oh,
shot him
wow.
down. I said, "How many lives did you save, Ernie?" He goes, "Well, I don't know, hundreds." And I just like all of a sudden went back. I said, "You're a hero." And he goes, I was just doing my job, Pastor. I said, "No, Ernie, really, that is phenomenal." I was just like, "Oh my God, how many people don't know that this man is something special sitting next to me right here?"
Wow.
And so,
Very inspiring.
and then he took me to his garage, and he said he was an antique dealer. He said, "I've been thinking, and I want to give you something." I said, "What?" And he took me out to his garage, and he goes, "I want to give you this from the estate of Katharine Hepburn." He goes, "It's a chair." from her estate. Showed
Wow.
pictures of it in her estate, and I said, Ernie, you don't have to do that. He goes, no, I want to do that. And so each
Oh,
time I sat in and I thought of him, of course, I thought of who else sat in that chair, but definitely. And I say that story to say this: we all have a story. We all have something in our life that has made us who we are.
mm-hmm.
Don't be afraid of it. Don't shy away from it. There was times, and I'm going to say this, I'm going to be transparent like you were the other day, my friend. After I got out of pastoring, didn't want to talk about it. I just, it was part of my life that I moved on from because it was a season in my life and circumstances in life. I moved on from it. Didn't say I didn't demean it because I had some special things happen during those 17 years. But all of a sudden, my stepfather, my late stepfather, sat me down and he said, and he noticed that I didn't talk about it. And he said, you know what, Herb, you did amazing things for 17 years and you got to let people know you did. He goes, don't just close that book and never open it again. And I took that to heart. And so now I talk freely about my pastor days and what I did and accomplished during those days and hopefully help people. But it's all about just embracing who you have become. And I want to encourage everybody out there to embrace that. Maybe there's times that you don't want to talk about it, but it's made who you are. So that's what I want to talk about today.
Very cool. Very nice. Well said. It's funny because sometimes, who we become is who we were meant to be in the first place.
Yeah. True.
So the transformation of a new day gives you an opportunity to be a better version of yourself. So take example, your pastoring days, maybe you thought that was your highlight, but maybe that was just one chapter and there's so much more yet to come.
I like to think, thank you. I like to think so. I like to think so,
Yeah,
especially in my writing. I think I can really help people with the writing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, the gentleman that you talked about, there's so many unsung heroes.
Oh, so many.
And it's up to them to be able to tell their story so that others can be inspired by it and to do things. I mean, when I think of inspiration, I think of my dad, who's no longer with us. He was denied at 18 years old to serve in the Army. Now, he wasn't denied for any other reason except that he had some health issues. He had like an enlarged heart. He didn't pass the physical. And back then, if something was wrong and they took a chance on putting in the Army, that was a big deal. So he had to actually volunteer himself in. He signed all these waivers. Now, that might not be a big deal for a lot of people, but you know what? That's a very noble thing to do, is to put yourself on the line when somebody says, you know what, you may not be able to serve. It's like, what? It is my duty to serve. And my dad proudly served, and he actually served on a platoon with Elvis Presley. He's got a lot of pictures. My aunt has them. And, these are just things that I tell my kids. This is a legacy of him. And, everybody's got to find an inspiring story that moves them regardless of who it is. And I remember when they put him in the ground, the U.S. Army sent 3 soldiers to put him in and they draped the flag on the casket to show that he served. And they did this whole tribute and then gave us the flag all folded up. It was just a beautiful, beautiful tribute. And you know what I think to myself? Like, how many people out there served and we don't even know about it? And,
I know.
It's a noble thing, regardless if you're serving in an American army, in a Greek army, in a Russian army, it doesn't matter.
Wherever.
The fact that you're putting yourself on the line to save so many people, God bless.
And it shows also that, first impressions, you got to get over them sometimes, because my first impression was Ernie was not a hero. He just was a normal, everyday guy. And then you sit down and he shows you and he tells you and you're like, oh, my word.
And I love that. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. but give people a shot, because
Give them a chance.
especially older people that have done
Mhm.
some great things, give them an opportunity to tell their story to you so that you can share it with others like Herb did. So and I just shared something small about my dad that I don't really, I don't really tell a lot of people, because like, oh my God, because I don't want it to be like I'm bragging or I'm boasting. But you know what? Mm, Legacies are made to be told. And so
Exactly.
if you have something in your family, in your friendship with people, share those stories, because you don't know who you're going to touch and who you're going to move. And talk about unsung heroes. There's a lot of you out there that are single moms, single dads. Those are unsung heroes too. Don't
Oh,
think of it just as going to war and battle. Every day you wake up, it's a struggle. You're paying bills, you're keeping a roof over your head. Some of you have taken in stray animals because you don't want them to go to a no-kill shelter. That's also very noble. So I encourage everybody out there to find something that is very inspiring or very important to them, and really share that with others. Because I do see on Facebook the fundraisers and stuff, but I have to be honest with you, a lot of the fundraisers that I see, for the birthdays, we do contribute already, and it's always the same thing: Red Cross, Salvation, cancer, blah blah blah. But I'm not talking about just that. I'm talking about things that you do on an everyday basis that don't require money. It's just
mhm.
getting up out of bed and making a difference in somebody else's life.
Well,
That's a
and it
difference.
requires the thing that's more precious than money, and that's your time.
That's
And
right.
and
And your heart, and the caring that you're giving to people, and the loyalty, the support. These are all things that do not require money. Somebody's support can just be being there, listening to them. It could be that person that's so depressed that they don't have an option but just to kind of cry, and you're there listening to them and
mm,
comforting them. I always think of Robin Williams hanging himself because he was so petrified that he had dementia. Dementia is so scary when you start losing your mind and you don't remember, you don't remember things, and you don't recall things, and you don't remember the people that that love you. And I had bouts of it with my parents before they passed, and it was very hard. I was their primary caretaker. My sister was, we were like 50-50 taking care of them, and, we had aides, but, just they want their own, and they look at you sometimes with those starry eyes. Luckily, my parents always, recognize this, but if you have those parents and you're taking care of them, you're also an unsung hero, because you're putting out that time. You're taking time out of your day. You're not going to work. You're missing time to be there with them. You're not throwing them into a nursing facility and forgetting about them. I'll never forget how awful that was, visiting my parents when they were in rehab and seeing so many lonely people there. I sometimes, to this day, I have a rehab facility where my parents were for a little, bouts of time when they were getting recovered, and I go in there and I just volunteer a few minutes of my time. It's not a lot,
yeah.
15, 20 minutes. I can't really afford to spare too much time, but just going in there and having a cup of coffee with some of these elderly
Well,
people,
that's huge. Just to
huge.
have a cup of coffee with somebody like that.
Yes, yes. And I do take my Dunkin' Donuts sometimes, and I'll have another cup of coffee, and it'll be black, and I'll share it with a group
Yeah.
in that little, and it's hard sometimes to just make that time for people. But I encourage a lot of people out there that have even people in your family. Maybe you have that long lost aunt or uncle. Maybe they don't have family. Maybe they never had kids. Go visit them
Mm.
every day. Do something out of the ordinary that might impact somebody's life. You never know. I always say that comes back tenfold. You send something out of the universe, it comes back tenfold. And
Exactly.
the other
Exactly.
day, I heard a great expression, and I definitely want to share that with you guys. It was talking about grudges, and I read this somewhere, and I've said it probably like 10 times since because I love it. If you are holding on to grudges, you are not keeping your hands open to your blessings.
True.
So I'll say that again. Don't hold on to grudges, because then your hands aren't open to your blessings. So
Very
when I
true.
heard that, I just kind of like, oh my gosh. So yeah, so today's been a very, very inspiring program. I really, really enjoyed the story
Me
that
too.
you
We're not all fun and laughs and giggles. Sometimes we'll get a little serious. So we can be open to life's lessons and how we can learn from them.
I do want to end off the show with one thing, though. There's two things, actually. I don't know if anybody out there watches Game of Thrones, but last Sunday was just riveting. Oh, you don't watch it?
I haven't seen it yet.
Well, I'm not going to say anything. I just said it's riveting. Brilliantly visual is the entire show. We'd never give a spoiler away, especially when Sunday's coming, the new one. So hurry up and watch it before
I've seen Endgame too, and I'm not giving the spoiler away from Endgame, but
well, Endgame was awesome. Avengers, I saw twice. Guys, if you're a big Avengers fan, you have to go see it. Yeah.
Oh my word!
If you haven't started, I see these memes. Am I the only one who hasn't watched Game of Thrones? You're missing out, guys. It's a binge-worthy show, better than Breaking Bad.
Oh, Game of Thrones will have you hooked out for the first season.
But I've seen a lot of you guys put on your am I the only one who hasn't seen Game of Thrones? And I'm going to tell you right now, I was one of those people a long time ago when everybody was talking about it, and then I binged myself to catch up. And now I could never imagine myself not.
I know. It's amazing.
So those are the only two things that I want to say, the Avengers and Game of Thrones. If you're not with it, get with it. It is May, brand new month. We didn't say that yesterday because we were off yesterday.
Happy May.
Yeah, so happy May. And first new of the month brings new challenges, spring new flowers, and anything that you set out for last month is just preparing you for this month. If you didn't hit your goals, I want you to celebrate the little triumphs you did have. And let's console the fact that, guess what? There's work to do. There's a lot of work to do. If you did not hit your goals last month, it's a fresh start. We're hitting the reset button as of today. Put down those new, fresh goals. Forget about what happened in the past and start fresh. Don't ever dwell over things that you did not accomplish. It's just going to hold you back. I'm going to be honest, and again, full transparency. None of us are perfect that we always hit every single goal.
No.
We don't advertise. It's funny. We don't glamorize our failures. We only glorify our successes. But I'm going to tell you.
Very true.
Right? We only glamorize the success. On Facebook, we have that disease called comparitis. We're all looking at each other like, who did what? And
who did something great today?
Right. And nobody advertises when they've been down and out, when they lost that fight and they lost that struggle or whatnot. But I'm going to tell you, advertise to yourself that it's okay to reset that button and start over, because here's what happens. You get knocked down 18 times, you get up 19. I'm going to say it right there.
Well said.
Knock down, get up again. Knock down, get up again. And I always revert back to my friend over here, my charming co-host. Don't pitch that tent when you do fall down, okay? Don't pitch that tent. Learn.
That valley is to be walked through, not to be stayed in.
Yes.
And don't pitch that tent. Don't sleep. Don't spend overnight. Keep going through it, because the mountaintop is waiting. The mountaintop is waiting.
Yes, and wake up today and start this day fresh. Grab your coffee if you're out there, or grab your tea, whatever you have to have. Here, let's see if we can do like a.
There we go.
And a thing, because I don't know which way it was going. Yeah, but just know that the dawn of a new month always brings the dawn of new goals. And if you're always striving for something new, you're never going to be left behind. Go ahead. And
I just want to say, as we close, the other day I looked at one of our first episodes. I think it was October, and to now, we've come a long way as a motivation cast.
Absolutely.
And so I'm excited to see where we're going to take this in the days ahead. But
and you know what's funny is those old shows make me laugh, because
I know
we forgot what we went over, but we see how every day we are getting stronger, we are getting better. So I want you guys also to see myself and Herb as coming out of our comfort zone and doing something different, because neither one of us have really thought this show was going to take off like it has.
We thought it was a good idea to do.
There you go. And we've never met each other. So I encourage everyone out there that does not have a lot of social media right now, just so you know, a little bit is okay. Meet a couple of people, and I promise you, they will shape your life. When you start hanging out with like-minded people,
The right
your
people.
life
The
changes.
right people.
The right
Me-
like-minded people.
Yeah.
And likewise, if you find yourself deleting toxic people, you are growing because you don't need to hold
Yeah.
on to
Don't
that
look at
energy.
it as a negative. Don't look at it as a negative if you have to get rid of some people because they're going to take you down and you're ready to soar. So remember, it's all about surrounding yourself, like my partner just said, with like-minded people they'll bring you up.
There
Alrighty,
you go. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for that. Have a wonderful day, Herb,
you
everybody.
too, and we
And
will see you tomorrow.
back here tomorrow. Have a great day,
Okay.
everybody. Bye.